Dear students of class 9A and 9B, today's point: differences between the early and the later Vedic age. Differences between the early and the later Vedic age. What are the differences between the early and later Vedic age? Today I shall try to make a comparison between the activities of the people of the early and later Vedic age. The first one, literature. The first one, literature. The first one, literature. What is about it? Literature. During early Vedic period, during early Vedic age, Rig Veda was there. During early Vedic age, Rig Veda was there. And Rig Veda also, during early Vedic age, Rig Veda also, the system of the Rig Veda controlled the entire system of the administration. The Rig Veda also controlled the regular practices of the Aryans. The Aryans followed the system of the Rig Veda, and there are 1028 Vedic hymns in Sanskrit in Rig Veda, and they had faith on Rig Veda because it was one of the oldest Vedas, and the early Vedic age also had some source of information from the Rig Veda, we come to know. And on the other hand, in the later Vedic age, Samaveda, their literature, some important literary aspects of the later Vedic age was like that. Many sources of information from literature we get from the history and about the later Vedic age. Number one, Samaveda. Number two, Yajur Veda. Number three, Atharva Veda. So these are the most important part of literary activities we come to know from the time of the later Vedic age. We come to know about the influence of the Brahmanas. We come to know about the literary works of Upanishads, Aranyakas, and Vedangas. Sanskrit, mantras were uttered by the Brahmans, because later Vedic age, the Brahmanas played a vital role in the society. That's why they uttered Sanskrit mantras in the form of Vedangas, and Sutras also a part of it, and epics. The two most important epics of the Hindus were composed during the later Vedic age, the Ramayana and the Mahabharata. And next one, the Ramayana and Mahabharata. The Ramayana and Mahabharata, both these two important epics of the Hindus were composed during this age because of the literary improvement of the people. That's why it became possible. And next one, political organization. Next one, political organization. Political organization. Political organization. Political organization, what is about it? What do you mean by the political organization? Political organization means during early Vedic age, the Aryans who considered themselves to be the ruler of the society by way of making, by way of getting united many Janapadas into Mahajanapadas, and declared themselves the ruler of Mahajanapadas and started ruling. They were basically tribal people, came from Central Asia and Barbaras also. And this tribal leader or ruler was elected by their tribe, by his tribes. and his position was not hereditary. During early Vedic age, his position was not hereditary. Sabha and Samiti also was there. Sabha and Samiti acted as the assistants of the king. That means the king, in order to make the king most powerful, Sabha and Samiti acted actively and directly played an important role by assisting the works of the king during early Vedic age. And during later Vedic age, king became associated with territories and his position became hereditary. During later Vedic age, the king's position became hereditary, and Sabha and Samiti also changed the system. Earlier, it followed a number of rituals and sacrifices also were conducted in order to strengthen the position of the king, and the kings assumed the title Samrat and Maharaja Dhiraja. Brahmins played an important role in the society. They conducted, religious ceremonies, rituals, and yajnas by uttering the mantras of Sanskrit, and they influenced over the people as well as the king and other distinguished people of the society. And next one, society. During early Vedic period, society, the condition of the society was like that. Kula was the basic unit of the society. Kula was the basic unit of the society, and there was a joint family whose head was the male head would take the decision, and his decision was final. And women had equal status in the position along with men. That means women, they obtained respect from the people and from the society. They took part in yajnas. They recited various mantras because they were educated, and hence there was a system. There was no difference between the women and men, because both of them took part in yajnas. Women also were allowed to choose their husbands, and children. Child marriage also was approved, and widow marriage also was approved. So they also composed hymns. The women composed hymns in the Vedas. During which age? During early Vedic period. But in the later Vedic period, there was, what was about the condition of the society? The condition of the society was that the position of women was not, the position of the women was declined. The position of women declined. Why declined? Because they had no access to the mainstream of the society, and they were not allowed to take part in the yajnas. Widow remarriage was looked down upon, and education for fewer women were allowed, but receiving education for the women was restricted. Only fewer were allowed to be educated. Fewer women were allowed to be educated. Those were extraordinarily good and meritorious. Only they were allowed to be educated. But generally, education for the women was restricted. And what was about the caste system in the society during early Vedic age? The caste system not so rigid. There was a fourfold division, and that occupation was dependent as per on the basis of their occupation. Their income was made and dependent on the basis of their occupation. That means the person who had ability, they could earn they could earn much more amount of money than others. So it was dependent on their skills, their talents, and their occupations. And during later Vedic age, the society, the caste system became more and more rigid. Birth became the basis of one's caste. Each class had a distinct role, and four ashram developed. Four ashram developed during later Vedic age. And next one, economy. What is about the economy? Now we are going to discuss about the economy of the early and later Vedic age. Economy. Economy of the early and later Vedic age. Economy of the early and later Vedic age. The early people of the early Vedic age, early Vedic period, the early people of the early Vedic period, their occupation was cattle rearing. Primary occupation was cattle rearing, and cow was the main source of wealth. Cow was the main source of wealth. Agriculture and domestication of animals also was practiced. Agriculture and domestication of animal also were practiced. During which age? During early Vedic age or early Vedic period. And during later Vedic period, what was about the economic condition of the country? Cattle rearing continued at the same time like the early Vedic age. But at the same time, agriculture became more and more important in the economy, and because the reason they cleared the forest and introduced human settlements there. The most important source of wealth was the land. That's why they cleared forest and they started cultivating crops, different types of crops, rice, millet, wheat, etc., etc. And during the later Vedic age, that's why they gave importance to agriculture and agricultural production because of the discovery of iron metal, and from iron they also discovered many weapons, many agricultural implements made of iron, and as a result of it there came a remarkable development in the field of agricultural growth and and as a result of it, people were able, peasants and farmers cultivated good quality crops, and they are able to establish a new human settlements. As a result of it, a remarkable change in their style and in their lifestyle, and they were able to lead a new modern lifestyle during later Vedic age or later Vedic period. And next one, there was a barter system of trade and commerce. In the field of trade and commerce, it continued the barter system during later Vedic age also, and silver coins were used during later Vedic age. Craft specialization took place along with the formation of the guilds. Since so many traders, businessmen, they continued trade and earned a lot of money, started earning money, much more amount of money, and became prosperous, rich and wealthy. That's why so many guilds also were established, and in order to control the traders and businessmen. And the next one, religion. What do you know about religion? What do you know about religion? Religion. What do you know about religion, my dear student? Religion, during early Vedic age, during early Vedic period, the religion means during early Vedic period, they worship nature gods. Who worship the nature god? The Aryans worship the nature gods. That time there was no fixed god and goddesses, but they worshipped only nature gods such as Agni, Vayu, Surya, female goddesses also there, Aditi and Usha, they all worshipped. These all were worshipped by the people of the early Vedic age. They worshipped the land, they worshipped earth, they worshipped water, they worshipped fire, and as a result of it, and at the time when they usually would go to fight against others on the eve of leaving their resident, they worshipped the nature gods, and in order to be blessed by their nature gods. And next one, later Vedic age. During later Vedic age, nature gods lost their importance, lost their glory, because during later Vedic age, the kings, they started worshipping a number of gods and goddesses like Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva. They became main gods, and later some goddesses also were there like Kali, Durga, Lakshmi. They started worshipping it. So idol worship became more important during the later Vedic age, and religion devoid of simplicity. By this way, the later Vedic age, since there was a remarkable development in the field of religion, in the field of economy, in the field of education, during later Vedic age, people, they all became prosperous, rich and wealthy, and as a result of it, they also started worshipping, their deities, their gods and goddesses like Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, and as a result of it, the two religious concepts were formed, the concept of Shaivism and the concept of Vaishnavism during the later Vedic age. Up to this, my dear students, thank you.